Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump, Newsom, the National Guard, and appeals. So, Trump deployed thousands of National Guard to California to deal with widespread unrest that never really occurred. Almost immediately, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer put a temporary block on the move and ordered the Guard put back under the command of the governor. The temporary block was supposed to hold until a hearing. Well, Trump took it to the appeals court, and now a 3-judge panel, including 2 Trump appointees, have blocked the district judge's temporary block. That keeps the command of the National Guard under Trump, while the rest of the case plays out. Even though the panel sided with Trump, they rejected key parts of his arguments. Most importantly, the appeals court flatly rejected Trump's argument that courts couldn't review his decision. So, the obvious question, what happens next? Well, the National Guard deployment has turned into a disorganized joke and is being read by pretty much everybody as a desperate PR stunt that simply damaged the military's morale and caused malicious noncompliance with the Marines who were later deployed. It might have also had a little bit to do with the apparent less than enthusiastic appearance of the Army at Trump's birthday bash. Trump's rhetoric also didn't match what occurred. Rather than the Guard being deployed to enforce civilian law and knock protesters around, that was left to California cops. As most people familiar with the laws governing troops suggested would be the case, the National Guard has stood around and protected federal buildings and officers. Rather than the symbol of overwhelming force of the Trump administration, they've kind of just been incredibly expensive and controversial rent-a-cops. So, Newsom may just lay back and allow the situation to further embarrass Trump. It would be easy for Newsom to spin the situation into portraying Trump as an overly emotional, overreacting basket case who will deploy the National Guard over rowdy protests, but won't send help after a disaster. But he has other options. He could request an 11-judge panel to review it, or he could seek emergency relief from the Supreme Court. The legal fight is far from over, and it will likely take longer than the deployment. But speaking of the legal fight not being over, Judge Charles Breyer, that original judge who blocked Trump until the next hearing, that hearing is scheduled for today. At time of recording, there's been no resolution, and even if the hearing goes ahead today, whatever decision is reached probably won't be the final word. This will almost certainly end at the Supreme Court. And unless the court wants a constant series of cases about every deployment that comes along, they'll have to establish some kind of rough guidelines about when it's appropriate to deploy troops. Of course, we have no idea if they'll actually take the smart route there. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.